And our QPR Preview Show is back. The international break is over, and I hope the players are well rested because this is a crucial period of the season now coming up. We play 11 games in just 6 weeks before the World Cup, and we start with 3 games in less than a week against the teams currently ninth, first, and third. So it could give us a better picture of where we're heading. In this episode, we'll look ahead to the matches against Bristol City and Sheffield United, both away from home, so it is a real test for us. Before that, a quick look back, if we can even remember, on the final match before the break. It does seem a long time ago. The goalless draw with Stoke, which somehow took us up 2 places to 6th. Was it a fair result, Dave, or was it perhaps 2 points dropped now looking back?
Yeah, maybe 2 points dropped, but I thought it was probably a fair result overall. They were the better side first half, we were better second half. I was quite impressed with the second half. Bill changed it up, didn't he? Put Dykes on, went a lot more attacking, and we created a few chances. I thought we were really good. Stoke were quite impressive. I thought they were better than I expected. And really, at the end, they should have had a penalty, shouldn't they? We got away with one at the end there. So, you take a draw in the end from that one. It was a more entertaining 0-0 than you usually get.
Yeah, they had the chance as well that went just past the post, didn't they, before that? So I think we have to be happy with the point, especially because, like I say, it moved us up to 6th. And we seem to be touching on it most weeks, but the league table is just crazy. How can you draw and go up to 6th? And even though we are 6th, we're only 3 points above Birmingham in 17th. Luton are in the top half, but only 3 points above the bottom 3. We've seen Rob Edwards sacked by Watford, despite being a point outside the top 6. Paul Warne leaving Rotherham for Derby. Cardiff have sacked Morrison. What was going on?
It's crazy, isn't it? And it's not going to calm down because you think, like you just said, how many games you got coming up? You could be 3rd, 4th one day and then just drop down to 11th if you lose a couple of days later. It's crazy. I don't think it's going to settle down until after Christmas this year.
Yeah,
it seems more hectic than normal this year.
You're right. You're literally probably going to touch on it now, but lose 2 games and your position can change by like 10 to 15 places, and the pressure is going to be on managers very quickly. They'll be flying high 1 minute and dropping down, and it's important that we probably hit the ground running again because you know what it's like when we return away at Bristol City. Now, the last 9 matches between us haven't had a draw, so the odds are that someone's going to be taking home 3 points on Saturday. They're equal top scorers in the league with 19, equal with Sheffield United, who we then have to travel to. So the defence is definitely going to be tested this week. But Bristol City have conceded 16. Only Hull have conceded more, so that's a positive. After a back-to-back defeats, though, they're not going to want to lose again in front of their home fans, are they, Dave?
No, definitely not. I mean, they lost to Burnley and Norwich, didn't they, from the last 2? So kind of not 2, probably 2 games I'd expect to lose, but they've done a lot better than I think many thought they would this year. They look a lot better going forward, and that's a tough game going there. It's never easy going to Bristol City away. We've done well the last couple of years against them, haven't we? But that's always a difficult game there. They've got Naki Wells, of course, up front, who's, he tends to do quite well against us, doesn't he? And they've got the young guys at Conway, I think, up front with him. He was playing for Scotland under 21s the other week. He looks tasty. He's quick, and they play on the break a lot. I think that could be quite a difficult game for us.
Yeah, you're right about Naki Wells. He seems to have found his shooting boots. He's lost them for the last 18 months or so, hasn't he? But all of a sudden, every time you look back at them at the moment, they seems to be scoring. I just worry that they're going to be stewing on those 2 defeats for the last 2 weeks, and I think we'll have to try and manage the first 15 minutes and try and build our way into the game. I suspect they might come out firing at us, especially at home. QPR, we seem to have been saying every week that we've got Amos, Clark, Salter out, but they're back. They've played for the under-21s. George Thomas too, who actually struggles to get a mention, doesn't he? But he's back as well. Do you think he's got some tough decisions to make now with his starting 11?
He definitely has. It's a difficult first 11 to pick. I mean, you're looking, there's so many options around the squad now. But I think with a number of games you've got, I think he's probably got license to rotate a little bit in position. So whatever the starting 11 is on Saturday, it probably would change for the Tuesday. But it'll be good to have like Amos back, definitely in midfield. He adds a lot of drive to the team, and he was so good towards the end of last season. It's be quite exciting to get him back.
Yeah, massive. Massive fan of Luke Amos, and he will be good. And like you said, because the matches come so thick and fast, it gives him the excuse to, if he does bring Amos back, he just misses the match on Tuesday, or vice versa. He's not putting anyone's nose out of joint, because they're all going to get games, aren't they? As you said on some of the previous shows, the squad this season is going to get used massively. After 2 clean sheets in a row, has he got problems at the back of a good way? But he's going to cause him an issue, isn't it?
Well, potentially, because you'd think if he was going to play a back four, that you'd go probably Dickey and Clark Salter with the way he's talked them up. But neither of them have played the last two, and we kept clean sheets. Balogun, I thought, was been really impressive. I thought he was good again against Stoke. He made a couple of errors in the first half, but overall he was good. He seems to love Clark Salter, so I imagine if he's fit, he's going to come in probably in for Dunn. It's going to be a tricky one once Dickey's back fit, how he fits them all in.
Yeah. I mean, you've said yourself on some of the previous shows that maybe he's going to have to play 3 at the back, but is he really going to change the shape of a team that is in the top 6? It might make his decision a little bit easier if we were to say only pick up 1 point from 6 this week, and then he's got kind of like the reason to do it. But if we come back and win, it's going to be very hard for him to change a winning team around, isn't it? We have to mention Sinclair Armstrong. He scored 5 goals in 221 games, so he's not been involved in the last 2 senior games. But are you expecting him to be back in the mix now, given his performances?
Yeah, I think he probably needed like a couple of 90 minutes to get a few goals under his belt and like get some minutes. It's a bit different to start than coming off the bench all the time. But I imagine he'll be on the bench again at the weekend. I suppose a lot depends on with Dykes. I know Dykes has. Did you know if he played last night? He had a virus apparently, so I don't know if he'll be available at the weekend. But I think Armstrong will be back around the squad again now. He's very exciting coming off the bench any last 10, 15 minutes against tired defenders.
Yeah, especially away from home, when we maybe just the other team might not know him too well, and we can just maybe throw caution to the wind. I'd hope he's back on the bench as well, especially. What message does it send if he's scoring a hat trick and then he still can't get on the bench? Yeah. So I suppose you have to reward him, and I think he will be. Final thoughts on our chances against Bristol City?
Yeah, tough one. After you said we never draw against them, I do fancy a draw at the weekend, to be honest. I think it'll be a tough one. Like I said, you want to hit the ground running when you come back. There's so many games, and we're all like positive about QPR at the minute, but it's only going to take 2 bad results, and then you're like, oh God, here we go again, and you're down the bottom. So I'd be quite happy with a point at the weekend.
Yeah, it's the first thing I thought before we even hit record on this show now, is that you lose 2 games, the mood just changes so much, doesn't it? We could just do with not losing, like you said, and you'd think we'd need to take something from that game, because we have then to follow it up with a very, very tricky looking midweek away trip to league leaders, Sheffield United. They haven't lost since the opening weekend. In terms of our head-to-head, it is shocking. Seem to say that a lot as well, but we do seem to have a shocking head-to-head against a lot of teams. We've only met 7 times since our 2011 promotion, but we've lost 6, including the last 5 in a row. We've only won 3 of the last 17 matches against them, and that's before you take into account that they're top of the league. They've only conceded 5 goals and won the last 4 without conceding. Need I say any more, Dave? Our toughest match yet?
Yeah, it's definitely our toughest match. Yeah, I mean they're a good side, and I thought they should have gone up last year. I thought they should have beat Forest in the playoffs. I thought they were the better side on the night and just lost on penalties, didn't they? They're one of the favourites this year, so it's a really tough game, but it's a good measure to see where we are. Are we a team that can challenge around the top 6? How will we measure up against them? It'll be interesting to see how we do. It's a game. I don't think we've got anything to lose up there. No one's expecting us to win, are we? So I think if it goes up there as a go, if they lose, they lose. I think the performance will probably be more important in that one. If they can come and give them a really good game, you never know. You might catch them on an off night. No team's perfect in this division. Everyone drops points, don't they? But it's definitely our toughest game so far.
Yeah. You make a really good point there as well about it being a good yardstick, even if we were to lose, because obviously it was a strange fixture last season, wasn't it? Because you played them twice in April, and we didn't lay a glove on them at their ground, a really insipid display. And then at Loftus Road, we barely even crossed the halfway line in the second half. So we were so far second best then. And it was only 4 or 5 months ago. I think it's going to be interesting to see if we can at least improve on that, see how much we've improved under Beale. And it'll be a good reference point against, like what we've both been saying, They're clearly a very good side. Do you think he's going to make a lot of changes for this one and hope the freshness gives us a better chance?
Yeah, I imagine he will. I think midfield will probably be where you see the changes. I think Johansson will play one and miss the other, I would have thought. And young Tim will do the same. He'll be in and out for the other one. I imagine to add a bit of freshness. I'm not sure which way round he'll do it, but I'll be surprised if Johansson plays both games. And the same up front. He might start Dykes in one and Roberts in the other, just to freshen things up because they are so close and they're playing Friday as well, aren't they? So the games are quite close this week.
Yeah, it's crazy that you come back after 2 weeks off and you're given 3 games so close together and play on the Friday night as well. Good that you touched on Roberts there because I wanted to say, have you been a bit disappointed with him when he's been starting up front?
Yeah, I was expecting a bit more, to be honest. I thought he had good moments against Millwall up front, but he just kind of feel like he's not really got going yet. He drifts wide a lot. That's the kind of player he is, isn't he? He's more of like an attacking midfield player, I think. He drifts wide a lot. And there's never really anyone in the middle when he plays. And I thought when Dykes came on in the last game, we just stayed in the middle. We looked a much better side. We had a target man to play off, and Willock and Chair got a lot better then. Obviously, the downside of that is Dykes just doesn't look like he's going to score a goal, does he? I think there's more to come from Roberts, but we haven't really seen a lot of it yet.
Yeah, I mean, Dykes did get 2 for Scotland, didn't he? So hopefully he's got some confidence now and hopefully he isn't injured like you touched on. Roberts, for me, he just hasn't been quite the same as what he was in his first 2 sub appearances against Charlton and Sunderland. He came on and looked electric and he's never really performed the same again since. But hopefully, like you say, he's probably still just getting back from his own injuries and he'll settling in and still early in the season. Looking at the 2 matches as a whole, then are you maybe just hoping for 2 points, 3 points from 6 here in these 2?
I mean, if they can get through unbeaten, that'd be fantastic. I think. I think if we can get something Saturday, I'll be pleased, and then anything on Tuesday is a bonus. I think really, and hopefully build from there. Like I say, I think the performance is for me is more important on Tuesday. Just see where we are against Sheffield United. How far away are we from them sort of sides?
Yeah, I have to say, if this was on at home on a Saturday, it would be a tough match, wouldn't it? Sheffield United. So away in midweek, especially when we know we're playing again on the Friday, I don't think it could be much tougher. I expect us to lose, and hopefully we can just sneak a win at Bristol City because then it'll take the pressure off even more on it. It's almost like Sheffield United. I don't want to go all Harry Redknapp, but it would be a free hit if we already had 3 points on the board, wouldn't it? If we lose both, I'm sure we'll be sat here next week talking about Mick Beale being under pressure again. It's the nature of the beast, isn't it? As you've mentioned, we play Reading next Friday, so we'll have to preview that in the next show, and we'll see what these 2 matches have taught us. Thank you for watching. Get on our message board and share your QPR views, and come on, you ours.
We know who we are. You know who we are. We are QPR.